Yes, folks, hello, welcome once again to Mod Extra Games and Collectibles. Absolute pleasure to have you with me here today. And this video, this installment, is going to be taking a closer look at the New York Comic Con G.I. Joe Classified Series reveals that took place just yesterday, as of time of recording. I'm all a bit out of sync with the time zone differences, but yeah, we got some new digital render reveals that we can pour over, got some name-only reveals we can get excited about, and there was some stuff we knew coming down the pipeline that is going to be opening up for pre-order in just a couple of days. So let's get into it. Let's have a bit of a chat. Got some thoughts and commentary on these, and of course, as always, I invite you to join me in the comments down below. Share your thoughts and commentary. Right, well, let's take a look, shall we? Right, I'm going to get started with the digital renders then, folks. But before I do, I wanted to say a massive thank you to JC over at Toy News International. He was there, live at the event, filmed it on his phone, posted it on his YouTube channel. So folks like me over here in the UK who don't have the mega bucks to fly out to New York to go to the Comic-Con, were able to attend and enjoy the panel, albeit from a seated angle down below. But great work, JC. I'll put a link to his video down below. And of course, the panel was called the Hasbro Action Brands. So it was made up of information for Transformers, Ghostbusters, Marvel Legends, Star Wars Black Series. G.I. Joe Classified was one small section of the larger experience there. So the digital renders that I've got here, and the information, it was a little bit sparse. It was a bit, quick fire PowerPoint presentation, Emily reading a bit of a script that BMAC had written for her and stuff. So it's a bit thinner on the ground. But however, Tony from the design team has posted better quality digital render images, which are the ones I'm using today as well. And I'll make sure there's a link to his Instagram down below as well. But so there you go. There's the shout outs and thank yous. And so let's get into it. And the first one they showed us was Footloose here. And Footloose is all right. He's okay. He's got the multicolored camo thing going on. The stash work is there. I do have some concerns about his face, actually. His head looks kind of small and his face looks a bit youthful, certainly compared to the Footloose that my mind's eye generates from Footloose is a character I've got very fond memories of. He featured in one of the very first Action Force comic storylines, the UK Marvel UK Action Force comic storylines, although he was in a kind of more desert colours, like a yellowy, sandy uniform than this. But so I've got very fond memories, but I remember him looking a bit older. The stash was just a little bit more prominent and bushy. So the head sculpt is all right, but it's not blowing me away. He was kitted out with the M16, so I don't mind the weapon reuse so much there. That backpack is reuse as well. I think it was that, actually, talking about Desert Troopers, was that Desert Rat? Dusty, sorry. I can't remember, but yeah, he looks fine. I'll pick him up because, like I say, I've got very fond memories of Footloose as a kid, but he's not, pushing the envelope as far as a guy in camo gear goes, but that's what he is. He's a guy in camo gear. He's got the helmet. Interesting to note the helmet's got the neck strap done up again underneath like Doc had. But again, that's kind of part of the visual identity of the character. And nice to see that handheld rocket launcher, a new weapon hitting the selection there, and loving that little kind of shark paint scheme and the rocket that comes with it as well. So that's a nice little addition to the line. But everything else, the pistol, the knife, and all that, and the backpack, and everything's all reuse. And the vast majority of the body, I think, is reused. Are those legs? Are they Airborne's legs? He's got the boot going in underneath the ankle on his trousers there, which I think was Airborne or even Snowjobs. Or Airborne's and Snowjobs the same trousers. Anyway, so yeah, a lot of reuse there. The only kind of new stuff is the helmet, the shoulder-mounted rocket launcher, and the head sculpt. And I'm a bit like that about the head sculpt. I'm kind of, I suppose I probably will pick him up, but he's one that I'm just going to reserve judgment on and wait and see until an in-hand reveal at a future event, maybe. So there you go. There's Footloose. Okay, the next one they showed us was really interesting, and I've got mixed feelings about it. So this is what they showed us. They showed us the Cobra Perimeter with all new Trench Viper. That was the language that Emily used in her little bit of marketing spiel when they were showing this off on the old PowerPoint slide deck there. And, you know, the playset element of this is really exciting, really exciting. Very, very pleased to see this. I, like many of you guys out there, have been wanting G.I. Joe Classified Series playsets for some time. I remember having playsets as a kid back in the 80s. I like the look of this, you know, the ladders, the sandbags, the old searchlight to pop on the top there. There you got the big 60 cal, is it 60 cal? Machine gun people, correct me in the comments down below, as you are never shy of doing. But the old big belt-fed machine gun there to go with the sandbags and stuff, which is also really cool. It obviously looks like it can be mounted on the inside. Got the ladders, all very interesting. There was a lot of talk about it being modular as well, so you could buy several and chunk them together with an intimation, although this is me interpreting, that other sets of this nature could be, you know, chunked together in a modular fashion in the future as well, which would be really exciting. So all up for that. Really, really love it. Think you can make some interesting displays, use it in your photography. I like that is now a part of the G.I. Joe Classified Series experience. But the all-new Trench Viper is not all new, is it? It's a repainted Alley Viper, and they've slapped a name on top of it. And I get they want to create these new characters of their own. You know, like Wolf Spider was another example, wasn't it? But I'm just like, meh, really? They're so obsessed with Alley Vipers and bloody bats over at G.I. Joe Classified. And I'm kind of a little bit aggrieved, maybe unfairly so, but kind of a little bit aggrieved that the playset is sort of being held hostage in a way with this all new, because I've got no interest in a repainted Alley Viper like that. Although I must admit, I do like the paint scheme. The grey and white kind of urban combat style thing is actually looks pretty cool. And I will be picking this up because I want the playset, but I'm kind of a bit like, oh, but it's a figure that I'm not really all that eager to own. And, you know, if it was going to be a repaint or a reissue of a figure, I'd rather just have another Cobra Trooper or something, you know what I mean? So, yeah, mixed feelings on that one. I think it's possibly, you know, it's just my perspective. I think I'm possibly being a little bit unfair, but I would have preferred to have had, if it was going to be a reuse figure to go with the playset, I'd have wanted just something kind of really basic like a Cobra Trooper. And to call it the all-new, the all-new unless, has there been a Trench Viper? I don't think there's been a Trench Viper. I should have checked this before I started talking on a hot mic, but I'm pretty sure, to my knowledge, there hasn't ever been a Trench Viper. Has there? But, yeah, so I'm a bit like, meh, it's not all new, is it? It's just a repaint. So, meh. But I like the idea of the playsets. And I can't wait to see it in plastic form to get a sense of the implementation. Because what we're seeing there in the digital render, no, this side, what we're seeing there in the digital render is looking pretty good to me. If it comes to life and doesn't look too plasticky and cheap, then I think it'll look really awesome. But, yeah, the Trench Vipers just kind of turned me off a bit. I'm just a bit like, meh. All right, another Alley Viper. Although I'd be lying if I said I didn't. I thought the colour scheme was pretty cool, actually. So there you go. But that's exciting. Playsets. And can't wait to see what new and interesting stuff they've got in 2025 on that front as well. Next up, we had what is called the Legacy Firefighter, which is really interesting. Definitely a head turner, this one, I think. So in the little bit of marketing spiel script that Emily was giving, she said that the 60th anniversary line was a success, and they wanted to continue acknowledging the legacy, so they're introducing this legacy line for 2025. And she also said that this is going to be first responders, so this is the first of a selection of first responders that they're going to do. Also mentioning that we'll be seeing another first responder coming in 2025. But to talk about the figure itself, this looks, just checking my notes, what are my notes on this? Yeah, this looks, well, it looks fire. See what I did there? But yeah, it looks great. Looks really good, really interesting. I like the kind of world building aspects to this that can open up your world of possibility when it comes to displays and posing and things you can do with your figures. It's the Snow Job body, which actually, now that I see this one, I'm like, yeah, that Footloose isn't Snow Job. It'll be Tunnel Rat or Airborne's legs with the different boot line at the ankles. But this is Snow Job body, but the way it's been repainted obviously makes it like the reuse to the eye is negligible. I've got all the high-vis stripes in there and stuff. Yeah, making it, you know, very good quality firefighter stuff. We've got the black on there. It really caught my eye. It looks kind of a bit more sort of matte in tone, which I really like, and hopefully in reality it'll look like that too in the 3D plastic. But all the gear that comes with him as well, like you got the fire blanket there, the axes, the sledgehammer, the crowbar, all the useful tools of the trade, the jaws of life being used appropriately here in the G.I. Joe classified line rather than inappropriately. He's got the oxygen mask and the rebreather face mask and stuff. The helmet, got the head swap in there for your choice of ethnic origin of the character. All awesome and great to see. I'm always keen on these packs as well that have got stuff in there that you can just sort of use broadly across your collection for your displays, for your photographs, etc. The fire axes, the sledgehammer, all that stuff has a place that can be utilized either offensively, defensively, or in terms of storytelling with any of your characters in the line. Give the sledgehammer to one of your dreadnoughts or something, you know what I mean? Or pop the fire axe in somebody else's hand and get yourself a little breaking a door down scene going. It's all good with me. But I like the look of the figure itself. It's got a good vibe about it, and it's a solid sound reuse of the snow job body there. And I think that the high-vis stripes look really excellent on it. Just very well thought through. So yeah, I'll definitely be picking this one up. I think I've been more selective with the 60th anniversary line, and we'll plan on continuing to be so with stuff like the new iteration of that, the Legacy line. But this one has definitely caught my eye. I like the Firefighter. Random side note, folks, I saw the 609 on his helmet, and I looked it up, I googled it, and Fire Station 609 is in Scottsdale in the US. I don't know if that's a little Easter egg or has some sort of relevance that I can't drag out of the filing cabinet of the mind there. And if it is, let me know in the comments down below if I've not realised something there. But you just see a number like that and you look it up, don't you? Well, I do anyway, I don't know. So the next one they revealed to us was this one, Snake Eyes and the Polar Bear from a kind of this Mass Device subline, which is really interesting. So Emily said that there were going to be 3 sets in the Mass Device with various pieces that you can then chunk together to do your Mass Device, and inspired by the Mass Device storyline. This was the first one that they were revealing here, which is the the glowing Snake Eyes piece. I've got mixed feelings about this one. I've got to be honest. I've got mixed feelings about this one. The Polar Bear looks outstanding. Love the Polar Bear. They do great kind of creature figure work in G.I. Joe Classified anyway. I've rarely been disappointed by these larger animals. Some of the shouldery birds and stuff, perhaps a little disappointed, but never been disappointed. And the Polar Bear looks amazing. Looks really great. Loving that. It's the little replacement shoulder piece on there. So you got one with like the arrows sticking out of it. And then you've got the plain shoulder piece. If you look at the picture, you can see it on there, which I think is really, really cool. Great for storytelling. Got the head swap in there as well. So very, very excited about the Polar Bear. The idea of the Mass Device subline is encouraging. I like the idea that they're drawing like really kind of niche, specific inspiration from the Sunbow cartoon, which I think a lot of G.I. Joe collectors out there, that's where their love of G.I. Joe comes from, is the old Sunbow cartoon. I'm just a bit like, I don't like having repeat characters, so I'm probably going to buy this set because I want the Polar Bear, but I'm kind of a bit like, do I really want another Snake Eyes? Although I do love that kind of purpley blue colour of his uniform. And because it's a very specific, he's reenacting a very specific scene from the Sunbow cartoon, he's got his, the glowing hands and everything, I'm also a little bit like, it really limits. I think it's more limiting. I want something that I can sort of more generically use. And I know he's got the hand swap, the skin coloured hand swaps in there, but I'd rather a couple of gloved hand swaps. I don't know. I mean, you can make it work anyway with other Snake Eyes hands and that, but I don't know. I don't think I'm articulating myself very well, but I've got mixed feelings because I really love the Polar Bear, but this idea that it's very specifically focused on one kind of aspect out of the cartoon series just gave me a moment's pause for thought. Gave me a moment's pause for thought. But otherwise, everything's fine. Got the bear trap in there. Got your Mass Device pieces in there. It's great that they put loads of different hand swaps in there. I'm just not so interested in the glowing hand swaps. You take one photo doing the scene, and then that's kind of it. But I do like the colour scheme on him. Again, like the Trench Viper, I must admit, I do like the colour scheme, and I don't have that the mainline version of this Snake Eyes. And I like the kind of, they've taken the big, chunky, bulky vest off the front and stuff there to make it more cartoon accurate. So, yeah, mixed feelings. But as I'm talking out loud on camera, I'm convincing myself more and more, which is always the bloody case. I just watch Shooting the Galaxy. He'll do some amazing photos, and I'll be like, oh, I'm buying it. Because that's always the way, isn't it? That wasn't all, folks, though. They announced some pre-orders going live this coming Tuesday the 22nd of October. And the pre-orders that are being made available are the Retro Wave, the new Retro Wave that we knew was on the way, which is made up of Rock and Roll, Dr. Mindbender, and the Cobra Viper. At this point, another quick shout-out, another quick thank you to Chris, otherwise known as Diagnostic 80 over at the Full Force podcast, who is there again, also live at the New York Comic Con, and was at the Hasbro breakfast, where they show off the figures and the in-hand pickies of these three figures that I'm using here now from Chris. So thank you very much, Chris. You did sterling work for the G.I. Joe community there. Thank you very much for your help. But you'll forgive me for just kind of rattling through these because I've spoken about them before when we first saw the digital renders and such like. Rock and Roll, not digital renders. We haven't seen digital renders when the name only, sorry. But Rock and Roll, fine. It's the mainline one, painted green, which I suspect is a bit disappointing for some folks out there who wanted something a little bit more vintage and classic looking in the retro line. They've kind of set an expectation now with Duke and Scarlet that in the retro subline they're willing to do resculpts to make a more classic, cartoon or comic book looking. So when they name characters like Rock and Roll, where they've done a bit of a reinterpretation in the main line of G.I. Joe Classified series, I think folks are a bit like, oh well, maybe we'll get one looking like proper classic look Rock and Roll, but this isn't. It's just the mainline one, painted green head to toe. And that's it. Same weapon selection, same helmet, not even the old school looking helmet, which I think will be a disappointment to folks. So easy pass for me. Same again with Dr. Mindbender. I've got the deluxe edition from whenever it was. Was it a convention exclusive or something? I can't remember. Yes, it was a convention exclusive because it took freaking ages to come to me. This was a pandemic, wait a year to get your pre-order kind of thing. But it's the same figure again, obviously with less goodies in there. I think this is a solid retro release because for those who didn't either want to spend the money on the deluxe convention exclusive or couldn't get their hands on one at the time, then this is obviously helping people fill that shelf gap with a main, ubiquitous main character there. And it looks good. It looks fine. Glad to see they've got the soft goods things still going on there. They made a big deal about the printed silver logo on the back, just like the old vintage figure. And then the Retro Viper, which I'm not sure about the Retro Viper, to be honest with you. I'm like, meh. I've got the Cobra Island one. I bought the 3-pack because I wanted the grey Cobra Viper. So I'm already lousy with Cobra Vipers. I'm not even an army builder myself. So folks who are army builders will have Cobra Vipers coming out their arse. It's got the all red, red gloves and so. I don't know. I'm like, yeah, these are all easy passes for me. But I can see for folks who haven't got them but want to fill those gaps in their collection, it's a good line. But they're not really offering me anything particularly new or interesting or exciting in the sense of them being actual retro. And that subline is confused, I think, at the minute. Although a commenter recently did say, why does it have to be? Why do you have to categorize it at all? And you know what? That commenter was right. So yeah, they're going on pre-order the 22nd, Tuesday the 22nd of October. Keep an eye out for people will share links and what have you all over the place when that happens. But they also gave us a few name-only reveals, and this was an exciting list. So first on the list was Darklon, then it was Crystal Ball, and then it was the version for Snake Eyes. And two of these, Darklon and Snake Eyes, have been rumoured for a while. So Darklon, I can't remember where the rumour had come from, but I think there'd been a sculpted gun that looked very much like the vintage big old spinning barrel big gun thing. And Snake Eyes had been hinted at by Lenny in his interview with a toy kind of mood. He had his vintage version for Snake Eyes knocking around. Crystal Ball, that's come out from the left field, but I'm very happy. He was on my wish list, so my wish list is getting quite swiftly crossed out. So thank you for that, Hasbro. But all three of these excite me. Darklon, I'd be very interested to see how they interpret this character, whether they lean fully into the retro, just go for the balmy bright green and the scarlet pants and all that. I'd be well up for that with a big freaky black mask. Whether they draw a bit of inspiration from the new Skybound interpretation. He just appeared in the Destro miniseries. Had a little bit of the front end of that storyline, but then a little cheeky epilogue with Darklon at the back end of that storyline. keeping it spoiler free. So whether they do something with which was a little bit more subdued and more kind of armored and interpreted, which is very kind of in the classified contemporized style, or whether they just do their own thing or find a way of mashing it up, I don't know. But I'd be very interested to see. I like the characters that are a bit more balmy, that bring a weirder splash of colour into the collection, and Darklon is definitely an opportunity for that. And he builds the Iron Grenadier ranks as well. Crystal Ball, another one I'd be really interested to see what they do. Do they lean fully in on the vintage, with the salt and pepper hair and the big handlebar moustache and the hypnotism swirly thing going on? Do they? I've always been a big fan, for example, of the IDW continuity of Crystal Ball with his long hair and his big beard and his kind of dark, Manson-esque look with the sheepskin coat and the clawed fingers. Just messing with everyone's heads and like proper dark psyops kind of guy. And he also appeared in the storyline. There was a very Cthulhu, like drawing demons out from a Cthulhu-esque portal and stuff, which would be good. So I'd be very interested if they lean into something like that, or whether, again, they do their own interpretation. Very curious to see, but I think he's a great character, and yet another opportunity to just really give that G.I. Joe shelf some variety and depth, which I'm into. Version 4 Snake Eyes, well, I'll wait and see it. I don't like doing repeat characters. I've already got a Snake Eyes that I'm pretty fond on, and I'm probably going to have a second one with a polar bear at this rate. But this is a popular character. I certainly remember this Snake Eyes in those kind of story arcs in the early to mid 100s of G.I. Joe. Comic book reader here, so, with Scarlet and the version 2, the good guy version of Storm Shadow and stuff, and the Ninja Force. So he's a good companion piece for the folks who have picked up the Storm Shadow version 2. I didn't. So, yeah, I don't know. I'll wait and see. I'll wait and see how much of a head turner he is in three-dimensional plastic. But I certainly like the design, that blue-black design with the brown gear over the top and stuff, and the way the mask is. So, yeah, time will tell on that one. But I imagine there's folks out there in the community very happy to see this one. Might have been possibly their Snake Eyes, the first one they owned, or the vintage figure that they had when they were a kid, and that will tap into their nostalgia. So, yeah, absolutely no qualms about this name-only list. Just can't wait to see what they look like in three-dimensional form. Then, to finish up in terms of the reveal-y stuff, they gave us this little picky here, which has been, I'm sure you've probably seen it by now as it's been floating around, but it's basically an early prototype sculpt of a vehicle, and it's a wheel and a wheel arch. So it could be any number of things. I'll let you share your speculations in the comments down below. I'm not much of a vehicle guy. I was when they were 3 3/4, but in the 6-inch line, I don't pick up a great deal of the vehicles because space and money, basically. Space and money, the usual routine there. But I know a lot of people are very excited with the G.I. Joe classified vehicles and want to see more in the line, and so they've dropped a little hint there, whether it's going to be a HasLab or something. The only thing that might tempt me is if it was like a Thunder Machine with a Thrasher and a couple of other more obscure dreadnoughts. If they did Thrasher and Monkey Wrench in the Thunder Machine, I'd have to buy it. Just for the characters, because all the characters. But I thought that was interesting. So, yeah, there you go. Speculate away, folks. The last little point here, there was a slide that they posted up saying that there was going to be production delays in 2025 for G.I. Joe Classified series. I've got lots of thoughts on that. I might do a kind of thought of the day video on that in a couple of days, so I'm not going to dwell on it a great deal now. But I thought it was interesting that they sort of said, we want to be transparent about the fact there's going to be shipping delays, but we can't actually tell you why there's shipping delays. And I was like, well, that's not transparent then, is it? But I do like that they've at least given us a heads up, and it's curious, it's interesting. None of the other lines were announcing that there'd be production delays, so I'm interested to know and understand why it's G.I. Joe Classified, but they're never going to open the book on that stuff. Maybe they're using a different manufacturing place, or I don't know. Bobby Valler's rung a bomb threat through to the factory that makes G.I. Joe Classified or something. I don't know. Who knows? But, just be mindful of it, I suppose, folks. What they haven't told us or given us anything, although they said watch this space for more information, is a sense of how much of a delay, what kind of timelines are we going to be looking at and talking about ongoing, what is that going to mean for us as collectors and our kind of expected release date kind of stuff. The distribution on G.I. Joe Classified is already balmy enough as it is. I get stuff over here in the UK through retailers that import, they turn up in Australia and in the Far East. It's already a bit upside down and back to front, so who knows what's going on there. Let's just keep an eye out. But I might swing back round and revisit this idea because I've got thoughts about it anyway. And there we go then, folks. So there is my kind of first instinctual reaction type stuff to the reveals that we had at the New York Comic Con. Again, I'll reiterate an open invitation to head onto the comments down below, share your thoughts, drop some comments in there. I love hearing from folks and getting different perspectives and understanding a little bit more about what people are thinking and feeling across the community. So please do that. Head on in. What are you most excited about? What switched you off the most? How do you feel about the Master Vice Polar Bear? You know, all that kind of stuff. Do you have mixed feelings about the Trench Viper 2, or am I being unfair? You know, all that kind of stuff. Just let me know. Otherwise, thanks so very much for coming and hanging out. Keep an eye out for more updates and convention season related stuff. We've got MCM London coming up this weekend, and we've got the 1027 coming right at the back end of the month. So they're really cramming a load of stuff in here. So I'll be doing more kind of reaction videos and convention coverage in the next few weeks. Otherwise, thanks very much. Have a great day. Come and hang around here again sometime soon. And don't forget, the algorithm is going to suggest another video of mine to you in a sec, and I reckon you should give that a go. All right? So take it easy, folks. See you later.